Hello everyone, and welcome to, well, is it a beer review? It's a drinks comparison, maybe a drinks review. I don't know if you can really call it beer. I'm probably including the stuff that I've made. So anyway, we're doing some non-alcoholic stuff. Now we're only just doing the lagers to do that. I'm going to do another video and cover some of the ales. I'm not going to cover all the ales, I'm just going to take a kind of selection at different price points and just see where we are. I did non-alcoholic beers a couple of years back, and yeah, they were pretty atrocious. I think the best one out of the lot was the Guinness. Not because it was wonderful or great, it probably tasted closer to the original, which, let's be totally honest, isn't a great thing, because the original's pretty crap, let's be totally honest. But on the basis of maybe tasting more like the kind of alcoholic kind of version, then yes, it was probably the best. But if you're a Guinness drinker, that's great. I'm not a Guinness drinker because I find it a bit bland, boring and kind of overhyped. So, I mean, I kind of avoid it. So, the non-alcoholic version, which isn't as good as the alcoholic version, isn't really much of an endorsement from my point of view. So, what we've got today, we've got a wee selection. So, we've got Tennent Zero. Well, we are in Scotland. It'd be stupid not to. Be stupid to do it. But anyway, we've got that. We've obviously got Corona Cero, which is 100% natural ingredients, and it's again low alcohol. We've got Rheinbacher Pilsner, and I think that's from Aldi. So I'm kind of in all kind of different price points. I've got St. Etienne Premium Lager Beer. Again, I'm sure that's from Aldi, but it's a bit more kind of pricier. And then, of course, we've got the little kind of equivalent, which is Perlenbacher 0.0. So there we go. That's what we're kind of working with. And we have my kind of abortion. I've tried to kind of do a kind of hybrid, a kind of slightly mixture between ale and lager. The main point is that I've given it a little bit more hops at the back end to try and give a bit more bitterness, to kind of slightly give it a bit more ale-like, but try to keep it light enough to be a lager, you know, so trying to get the best of both, you know, it's that type of thing. You try and do the best of both worlds and you don't really achieve a benefit of any, let's be totally honest. So I've learned from my hybrid mistakes, and I've always said, well, there's no point in doing it and I'll not do that again, and there we go. But I thought, well, it's non-alcoholic, so who gives a shit, really, let's be totally honest. So I'll get this poured anyway. This has been a godsend, this system for the Igulu, the kind of equalised bottling system, equal pressure bottling system. Absolute joy to use, so it's, ooh. And the carbonation system works, oh Jesus Christ, works really well as well. So we'll pour this one out. Well, I can see it's carbonated, but it's a bit kind of flat as a witch's tit to a certain degree. You know, so there we go. It looks more like a lager once it's been poured into a glass in the bottle and that type of stuff. But you can see that it's got more of a kind of lager kind of ale like. So we'll put that over there. What we'll do is we've got two Moretti glasses here, just cleaned them. So we'll put the Tennents and the Corona in them ones. Oh, so we will. Geez, that doesn't pour much better than mine actually. Well, it is probably a wee bit better. Right, so there's that. In fact, I'll do this as a Madry one. So we'll put them there. Christ, I'm doing well here. Always kind of screw up. Oh, the bit to say I nearly forgot it. I'm already prepared. Oh God, come on you. I'm totally honest, the smell of cabbage coming off in here is unbelievable, seriously. Oh. It smells like we're having a she cook-off. She being a kind of Eastern European kind of cabbage soup. And yeah, so I'll put that there as, Jesus, I nearly filled the bloody glass. Right, we'll do Pilsner. Go for it. Fuck it. There we go. Who cares? Where is it? It bloody hangs onto the water, doesn't it? I 3D printed off some glass kind of drainer kind of mounts, and they're absolutely brilliant, and I keep meaning to, because I only did 2, and I keep meaning to print off other ones. And of course, as usual for me and that type of stuff, is that I never seem to have a chance, but I keep meaning to say I need to print off some more because they're absolutely spot on. Jeez, you couldn't believe the smell of cabbage coming off here. Not a good sign. Really? Why have I got that there? I'm keeping the beer all on the one side, and then what I do is I swap them around in this one. Right, so that's that one. And one more to pour, which is, of course, Perlenbacher from Lidl. I'm a bit hoarse today, I do apologise. I was at the football last night. It was the new form derby, Dundee United versus Aberdeen. And let's just say there was a lot of screaming at the Aberdeen manager, telling him that he's going to get sacked in the morning. Useless Scandinavian. Anyway, and that's not my opinion. That seems to be the general kind of consensus of the Aberdeen fans. Yes, they want to see the back of him. We think he should continue, actually. I think he's doing wonders for Aberdeen. Sheep shagging. Anyway, let's not go there. Right, so, and then of course we've got my wee kind of glass of piss over here as an abomination. Right, what we go with? I'm going to go with the cheaper ones first and work my way up to the kind of more expensive ones. Probably swap them about, actually, because we're going by price wise. So we are, and just see where we go. Oh, I've done it again, seriously. It's like a game of fucking chess going on this bloody table. Right, so here's the Perlenbacher. How's it compared? It's kind of similar. I would probably say the Corona is the lightest, tends to be the darkest, and the other kind of 3 kind of from the kind of budget supermarkets are kind of a similar colour, just a shade in between the Tennent's and the Corona is probably the best way of putting it. Right, smell wise. Jeez, just smells it. It smells kind of syrupy sweetness and grain. But not grain as in kind of, malted grains or that. I'm getting a syrupy sweetness kind of smell. And a kind of slightly kind of rice kind of smell. It's almost kind of like toasted rice, almost like Rice Krispies kind of smell. Yeah, that smells natural, doesn't it? Right, here we go. Right. Does not taste as sweet as I would have thought it was going to taste, going by the smell and just going by my experience of non-alcoholic beers, that they do tend to be sweeter by quite a margin, quite a noticeable kind of, and most of them are usually lagers, so just a little bit over sweetness kind of really does stand out in these type of beers, because there isn't really much flavour there to kind of balance that kind of sweetness out. So if it's a little bit of kind of excess sweetness, it really does kind of stand out. So this one doesn't. That would actually taste not too bad. I'm not saying it's completely lager-like, but it's actually not far off, really, if you, of course, you like lager. So that's not too bad. I'll try and obviously work down the prices and things I can't really quite remember. And of course, some of them you have to buy them in packs. Like this one, you have to buy, I think it's in a 6-pack. This one, which is the Pilsner Rheinbacher Pilsner, has to be bought in a 6-pack or a 4-pack, either 4 or 6-pack, but you have to buy them in a multi-pack anyway. And this one you can buy individually. The Tents you have to buy in a 4-pack, and the Corona you have to buy in a 4-pack. So this is another thing you kind of notice as well, is you can't really buy a lot of them as single beers. You've got to buy them in packs, which is a bit of a problem if you just want to buy one just to try to see if you like it or not. So, you know what I mean? They should give you that option. I think that would be fairer. But yeah, I would say the Perlenbacher is actually not too bad. It's definitely not the worst. I would say out of all the ones I tasted the last time that were supposed to be lager based kind of, or lager style ones, it's a lot better than the previous ones that I did, which were a lot more expensive. So let's try the St. Etienne. No, I was going to say I'll do the alcohol. I need to do the alcohol. God, they're all no alcohol. It just shows you I'm paying attention. I was actually looking at the back of this bottle to actually tell you what the ABV was. I'm absolutely useless. So, Jesus, pathetic. Right, here we go. So this is Aldi's kind of more kind of upmarket St. Etienne. I think it's a kind of I don't know. It's supposed to be kind of more of a, I don't know, more of a kind of a French style kind of lager, kind of Alsace. Sure doesn't smell there, which is just as well because there isn't any smell, no smell at all. Right. A little bit sweeter, but it's got a little bit more malt to it than the Perlenbacher. So it's a little bit sweeter, but because it's got the malt there, a bit more malt flavour, it does kind of balance that out a little bit. It does taste different, not so much of a grain flavour in this. But overall, that's actually not too bad. So that's not too bad. Tastes quite different, but gets away with it, kind of works, which isn't bad. Right, this is Rheinbacher Pilsner from Aldi. Getting slight syrup tones and ever so slightly light green tones, not really getting any malt or anything else. It's alright, it's got a bit of a watery back end. So it's very light in the back end to the point is that the flavours kind of die off even before the back of the mouth. You know, some of them are dissipating at the fucking back of the mid-tongue. And now it just gives you a kind of slightly kind of watery back end. Front, not too bad. Mid-tongue, bit light, actually. Sweetness wise, again, not too bad. Not overly sweet. But yeah, kind of light. You could probably look at this as more of a, you know, you get these light beers, you know, Coors Light and all this type of stuff, and Bud Light. It's kind of similar to that. It's just kind of lacking flavour. So it does. I mean, these are two Aldi products, and I would say that St. Etienne's a lot better than the Rheinbacher. And I would say the Perlenbacher is better than the Rheinbacher. So there you go. Boom. Right, tenants now. I'm going to riff now. I'm trying to kind of avoid it, but excuse me. It's just, you know, it's the nature of the business, isn't it? Right, smell wise. Oh fuck. It's not, you know, you get dry dog food or dog biscuits. It fucking smells like that. So it does. You know, that kind of dry dog meal you get, it's at Win-A-Lot dry, kind of little kind of, it smells like that. And the reason why I know that, because I used to have dogs, you know what I mean? So, and we used to always give it meat and then just give it some of the kind of dry stuff sprinkled over the top. And it's what your hand would smell of after putting it in the fucking box to blooming, you know, sprinkle it over its food. Yeah. That doesn't smell natural in any way, it does. It's got that kind of fucking bonio fucking smell about it. That kind of grainy, fibrous kind of dry dog food smell. Yeah, not attractive. Surprising that from Tennent's, it doesn't actually smell appetising. Usually with the actual full fat version, it doesn't smell appetising, and when you drink it, it seems to kind of go hand in hand. It doesn't taste appetising. So, I needed that, fucking hell. Let's see what this one's like. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. At the front of the mouth, I'm getting fucking dry. The flavour actually matches the smell at the front. Then it just goes haywire at the mid-tongue. Jesus God. There's a kind of strange chemical kind of smell that comes through and joins that kind of dried winnel fucking flavour. And you're asking why I know how it tastes. It doesn't. The taste is actually emulating the smell. That's just dreadful. I'll be totally honest, Tennent's is way out in the lead as being the worst. Jesus God, I'm not even going to look at, basically take another sip of that. Piss off with that. Smell wise, this is the Corona. Now the Corona is a bit of a strange one though. I'm getting a bit of grain, but I can actually smell a little bit of hops. So I can. Just a little bit. Just slightly kind of grassiness. Slightly kind of grassy, slightly kind of herby kind of smell. So bit of sweetness there, not too bad, bit of kind of ricey grain kind of flavour. Again, maybe a slight little bit of herbs in there. It's actually not too bad. It's not too bad. It's got a bit more flavour than the Rheinbacher, but not quite the same amount of flavour as the St. Etienne from Aldi and the Perlenbacher from Lidl. I'm going to go back to these in a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Right now the two standouts is St. Etienne and Perlenbacher. Then I would probably say probably Corona, then Rheinbacher, and way behind so far is Tennent's, but I haven't got to my concoctions. Well, you can see it's nice and clear. Smell wise, a little bit of hops, a little bit of malt, not so much grain. Excuse me, let's see what this is like. Bit of a hoppier back end, a wee bit grainy, mid-tongue. First thing I would say, it's lacking the malt. It hasn't got enough malt. Well, it has, there was enough malt put in, but it's just not really coming through, unfortunately. It's kind of lost a bit in the kind of the process. And I'd say, yeah, lacking body, and yeah, too light, I would say. Flavour wise, mid-tongue, not too bad. A little bit of grain's not too bad, and the bit of hops at the back end isn't too bad. The problem is though, these flavours aren't enough to carry it. I'll be totally honest, not enough to carry it. Excuse me. I do apologise, but yes, Jesus, we can do Chewbacca impressions after this, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's okay, but I think that it needs more malt, and I think, of course, with the more malt, would give you a bit more body and everything else. But removing the alcohol, a wee bit of sweetness as well. But when you're removing the alcohol, yeah, you're losing out on the kind of malt effect, to be totally honest. It's okay, but I just feel that it's kind of, yeah, it's lacking. An alright attempt. Some bits I like about it. Overall, it's got more flavour than these. That would be difficult. But the flavours that it does have, quite balanced. It needs that malt. And I think it would build up the body and obviously kind of balance out, just kind of support the other flavours, which are really kind of, they're there. And you can taste them, but just, it doesn't, these flavours on their own just aren't enough to really give it that kind of beer kind of similarities, and I think that's the problem. I mean, I know like in America they do these hot waters and everything else, which is fine, but the problem is it's not going to have the flavour of beer, and because the malt is kind of too low in this, the flavour wise, it doesn't really feel beer-like because of it. I mean, there is some things that kind of remind you of beer, but it needs more malt. It's okay, but yeah, not exactly where I want it to be. So yeah, I would say it's better than the Tennant, so that wouldn't be fucking difficult. But yeah, I would just say it's above Tennant. So let's see who's the winner. I'm not going near the Tennants. I can fuck off it. It's last easily. There's no point tasting that again. Right. I would say the Perlenbacher. Perlenbacher for me is a better tasted one. It's maybe a bit more balanced to it and does taste more like a kind of standard kind of weak kind of British lager. But yeah, it does actually taste more like a lager. And flavour wise, it just stands out a bit more. So Etienne and the Corona. Bit of sweetness with that Etienne. It's a difficult one, but I'm going to say Corona, and I'm saying on the basis that number 2 should be Corona because it doesn't have that kind of sweetness that St. Etienne has. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but St. Etienne's got a little bit more sweetness, which again, it's not too much, but it's just enough to give me a slight kind of memories of Klausthaler and Caliber, kind of non-alcoholic beers, but were just kind of horrible kind of sweet things. But I also think with Coronas, because of the style of the lager, you could get it with maybe putting a wedge of lime or a wedge of lemon in there, and I think that would work and just kind of enhance it a bit more, so you could get away with it as well with that. So I'm going to put St. Etienne from Aldi in third. So basically Perlenbacher wins, number 2 is Corona, third place goes to St. Etienne. I would say Rheinbacher comes in 4th, Mad Concoction comes in 5th, and Tennants comes in an easy last in 6th place. Have they kind of improved? In some ways, yes, I would say they have improved a bit. Not hugely, not groundbreaking, but Perlenbacher isn't actually too bad, to be totally honest. I'm not going to say it's wonderful, it's great or whatever, but it's actually not too bad. And the Corona, it's similar to Corona. Corona hasn't got a lot of flavour anyway, but I think you would get away with it if you did a little bit of kind of wedge of lime in the bottle or a wedge of lemon and things like that, and I think it would work. I think you could get away with that at barbecues and things like that, and you'd probably be quite happy. St. Etienne, not too bad, but it's just that little bit of, just a little bit extra sweetness that that just a little bit, just a little touch too much, as they say. And yeah, the Rheinbacher is just slightly lacking in flavour. Mine isn't really lacking in flavour in some ways, but in one of the most important flavours, it is quite lacking. So on that basis, yeah, it's kind of disappointing, and 10, it's just utter rubbish. So there you go. So if you are looking for a non-alcoholic lager, for whatever reason, maybe you're around at a friend's house and they don't have a kettle or they've run out of milk or something like that, so tea and coffee's off the menu. And if you want a non-alcoholic drink, you have some of them sitting somewhere, then yeah, I would recommend going for that out of these ones. But I would say out of these ones and the ones I did previously a couple of years ago, not including the kind of Guinness, but from the kind of lager ones that I did, I would see this Perlenbacher 0.0 is the winner, and one I would probably kind of recommend if you need to go down the non-alcoholic route and you want to get a couple of non-alcoholic bottles in, then yeah, these are, I'm sure they're cheap enough as well, so, and easy enough to get if you pop into your local Lidl. So anyway, thanks for watching, cheers, bye for now.